Welcome to my podcast, Out of Town. My name is Tova, and I cannot wait to share the stories and the fascinating conversations I get to have with the most amazing people I come across living out of town. So let's go there. Join me in this enlightening conversation with my dear friend and boarder, Rosie. She's going to take us through her journey of living life with what seems like a disability, what she speaks about entering a world that's slowly closing in some ways, but expanding in so many others. You will be inspired, you will laugh, you will cry, you will just be a witness to what greatness is and to what it means to do the work and make the most of a situation. I know that I'm inspired on a daily basis having Rosie in my life, and I'm sure now you will be too. This is Rosie Halper-Rosenthal, and this is our lovely boarder and my dear friend. And it is so exciting to be able to interview you and have you share your story, or at least parts of your story.
The pleasure, excitement is all mine.
How did you end up in Boston?
I was born in Boston. I grew up in Sharon. Really, the only from schools are in the Boston area. To high school at bitachon. After seminary, I'm like, okay, why don't I just move to Boston? You know, what is it like there? And you were going through all the things, how it would work. And then at the end, you were like, only thing is we have a dog. I was like, I was like, that is even better. It was like the icing on the cake. And then I moved in and it was just great. I'm part of your family 4 years ago.
I mean, you are part of the family.
I have Ushers Syndrome. At that point, I didn't know what it's like to have something and to ask for help. That was my first really exposure of somebody helping me because of a disability. Wow, everything is so crisp. I didn't even know that there were so many birds out. I didn't know that the clock ticks. You hear about it in books, but I didn't know that. Adults are supposed to say no, you're gonna be fine. Thank you, Hashem, that it's very, very slow. I don't know what I would do if somebody became blind in 1 second. Hashem really just made it slow and steady, I don't notice it. Because that's how Hashem made me. That's really the only answer.
But obviously the looming question is, what about shidduchim?
Yeah. I still don't fully accept that I will be blind and deaf because I think Hashem can do anything and who knows?
It was such a learning curve to have someone in the home, have a new family member basically.
Yeah.
But I can only say that my kids are so lucky that they have a big sister. You work with kids. I mean, yeah. It shows.
I call them my pretend siblings.
Yeah. So that's how you ended up here in Boston, in my home.
Yes. And this family, she's not going to admit it, but wonderful, amazing people to take somebody into their house. We met, but you don't really know me so well then. And really welcome me and make me part of their family and include me in everything. I really enjoy learning and growing with them and really looked a lot at your parenting too. I was taking notes and I love that. I should remember that for when I have kids. I like
wow,
that.
Thank you. So now you're in Boston.
For me, it was Boston was in town compared to Sharon. I'm wow, I'm moving in where everything's happening and there's people and there's so many different shows I can go to and restaurants.
We have some restaurants.
Yeah.
Sharon has no restaurants.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Also public transportation is so good here, but you can get anywhere really in Boston. Yeah. And that's very important to me. I don't drive. So yeah. I'll get into that also why that is. But yeah, I don't know what's the case in other places. When I was considered, you'll want to move to New York where everything's happening, it's a good singles community, but nobody knows you and people aren't looking out for you. And here in Boston, everybody's they always think of you and they know you. And do you want to come for a meal? I'm I'm sorry. I would love to, but I'm already booked somewhere else. Yeah, so I'll put you on my schedule.
I don't take it for granted that we live in a place that I'm surrounded by people that think this way and live this way. And obviously I'm grateful for you that you have those opportunities because you're really part of the community.
Yeah. So I'm very out of the box person. I have all these different hobbies. I love running, rowing, biking. I did just do my first marathon in November, the New York City Marathon with High Lifeline. That was, wow.
When you first moved in, your mode of transportation that I saw you taking a lot was the bike. What happened with that? You still have the bike.
Yes. So I should give a backstory. Yeah. I have Ushers Syndrome, specifically Ushers 3A. That's the mutation of. It's a genetic disease that causes progressive hearing and vision loss. And the mutation that I have is specifically found in Ashkenazi Jews. Right now, I am legally blind, and there isn't really a cure for it. They're working on treatment, and it's always very promising, the research. So I wear hearing aids, and I use a cane mostly at night. Sometimes, like during the day, if it's very
walking stick, the walking stick.
Cane. It's still like a debate. What do I call it? Is it a cane? Is it a stick?
Right.
I think the technical term is a white cane, because like a regular cane is like for old people, and a white cane is specifically like known for people with vision problems, because it's white and then there's like a red band at the end, so it kind of like, that's what it tells people, like, okay, you're walking down the street with this cane and your vision impaired somehow.
So people also can see it and they know to like be mindful. Is that part of it?
That is a big part of it, actually, because I'd say that half of the benefit of using the cane is not only for what I see, for what information it helps me detect, like just by bumping into something. Even during the day, I use it, even if I can still see what's in front of me, because it lets other people know that I'm blind, so they get out of my way, which is really helpful in like crowded areas, or like, once I was in Fenway Park, and I just used it inside like the underground area, and people just like parted. It was like pretty soundscape,
which is like important.
Yes, because also I find that people are much more accommodating when they understand that you have this. It's unfortunate, like the way the world is, that like they're not so willing to be less judgmental or whatever, unless they actually see the disability. People are
because no one can see what you're experiencing.
Right. People are more accommodating when they can actually understand that, and that's very human. Like, I'm fine with that, because like I get it. It lets them know, and it makes me feel like, okay, if I bump into something, like I'm forgiven because they understand. So you asked specifically about the bike. I can't drive. Like, I've never been able to drive. For a while, I was able to bike, just not biking at night, because that's when my vision is at its worst. But slowly, my vision kind of deteriorated. And my mobility instructor, he's the guy that teaches me to use a cane. He's like, you really shouldn't be biking. I'm like, yeah, but I still want to, whatever. And I'm like, inside, I'm like, I know I shouldn't be, but like, I don't want to give that up. It's kind of like when an old person has to give up driving.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like that's your independence. Like, this is my way of getting around. First of all, it's like I can get places. I don't have to rely on anybody. I just get on my bike and go. And also, it's like an awesome way to get somewhere. I get exercise just out of going somewhere. And I'm also scared of, when is that moment going to be when I realize that I can't bike anymore? What is going to happen? I know something's going to happen for me to like actually say, okay, I'll stop biking. So I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I really should stop, but like also I'm being kind of stubborn. I'm like, what moment is it that's going to happen that will like finally knock some sense into my brain?
Yeah, but that's so human. It's like, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Right. So thank God Hashem was so good. It was a minor thing. It wasn't a thing.
Something happened.
Something happened.
Oh no.
I was biking in Brookline Village. Usually I get off my bike and I cross major streets. I walk it across. But for some reason I was biking it across, which you shouldn't, through an intersection. I was biking slowly because like I still bike slower than I actually could, because I don't see very well. If I'm biking slower and I bump into something, okay, like it's not as bad. And also like biking slower gives me that time to like process what I'm looking at and see, and so I was biking across, and this lady was walking, and I didn't see her until I was like, she kind of was coming from like my peripheral vision, which is getting smaller. So she's coming out from the side, and like I bumped right into her foot, and she was still standing, like she did not get hurt, Baruch Hashem, and she also didn't see me, so it wasn't like only my fault, but yes, I did bump into her. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, oh boy, like I cannot be responsible for hurting people. That's something that's really hard with the vision loss, is like hurting people. Even though I don't mean to, but like I'm always bumping into the kids at school, like here, like I'm always knocking into them, and like I feel terrible. Like I don't want them to get hurt.
I think kids are the perfect people to bump into. They're so forgiving. They bump into things all the time. Yeah. They fall in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like I think they're also very forgiving.
They are. And also, the dog is Latte. She somehow knows that like if I'm walking near her and she knows that I don't make eye contact with her, then it probably means that I didn't see her.
Yeah.
So she sees me coming, so she'll get up and walk away. And like at first I felt very like insulted. Not like, oh my gosh, even the dog doesn't like me.
Oh no.
But like I got that it wasn't that. Like she can tell when I see her, and then if if she knows that I don't, then she just knows. Doctors really good that way.
When did you discover that you had Usher syndrome?
So I don't think I remember the exact moment of like understanding, because I think I was like officially diagnosed when I was in high school, almost 16, which is right around that time frame. Usually symptoms start early teens, like at least in my case. There's 3 different variations of the disease, and the differences are when the symptoms show up. Basically, you could be born profoundly deaf and then lose your vision over time. Baruch Hashem, like I had like fine hearing and vision. Like I passed all the baby screen, whatever that is. So I was able to develop normal language skills and communication, and get a sense of my world, vision wise. So I think that, and I got glasses when I was 10, which is normal.
Yeah.
But then in high school, I guess what happened was that my doctor noticed something and he sent me to a specialist to like check it out, like what's going on back there in the eyes. I remember going to this retina specialist out of Mass Eye and Ear, which is like a really top hospital for this type of stuff.
Right here in Boston.
Right here in Boston. Like Baruch Hashem, I'm in the perfect place for all this stuff. He like, it was like a whole day's worth of testing, which was like, whoa, like I was still kind of like, not scared, but just like, what's going on? Like I'm 15. I didn't really know what was going on, just like, okay, I guess something was with my eyes. I didn't know. I also like didn't notice in particular, like, oh, today, like all of a sudden I can't see. It's progressive. It's very slow over time. So I didn't notice anything different. The doctor comes in to discuss it with you. And I just remember being like, after all this, like, what's going on? I was like, am I going to be blind? Like very candidly, like, just like, for sure I'm not going to be blind. That's not happening. Like, I just want to like get that out of the way. Like, I'm like a kid. Am I going to be blind? And he's like, that's a hard question. And that really threw me, because I was like, whoa, adults are supposed to say like, no, you're going to be fine. Like everything's fine. And he didn't. I was just like, what do you mean? And so he's like, come back in a couple years and we'll do more tests and figure it out. And then I kind of like put it out of my head and like, okay, like I didn't really get any definitive answers. I realized that I was having a hard time seeing in the dark. That was a pattern I was noticing, but I didn't know why. Like I know I had something with my eyes, and people are asking me, you have very light colored eyes. Is that why? I'm like, I don't know, maybe, but I'm not the only one in my family with blue eyes.
Yeah.
But I am the only one in my family with this.
So this is a genetic condition, but you're the only one in your family.
Yes. So both my parents are carriers, and it's 25% chance of me getting it. And it was a lucky 25% chance.
It means so much to me to have today's episode of the Out of Town podcast sponsored by the one and only okclarity.com. For those of you who somehow don't already know, okclarity.com is the largest wellness and mental health directory for the global Jewish world, meaning this is the place for anyone Jewish to find an amazing therapist, psychiatrist, nutritionist, or even a coach, career coaches, life coaches, emotion coach, everything in between. When you check out the okclarity.com directory, you can filter by location, specialty, insurance, so much more. You can watch videos provided to you from the professionals, get all the important details before ever reaching out, making it easy to find the perfect professional for yourself or a loved one. I know that I'm recommending people to okclarity.com all the time. And if you are a mental health or wellness provider and you are not already listed on the okclarity.com directory, get yourself on there immediately, because this is how the greater Jewish community will find you.
In high school, during the play, specifically 12th grade, when we're moving through like the curtains, I just could not walk safely. Like it was just dark on stage between scenes. And I didn't really understand. I still didn't fully understand that I had something and like I could speak out about it. Like I didn't know anything. And so for me, I'm just like this 12th grader and like bumping into stuff, and I feel so weird and I don't understand. And then one of my girls in my class was so kind. She's like, I see you have trouble seeing. Do you want me to like hold your hand when we're walking across the stage? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And she made it sound so not weird. And like just so normal. I was like, yeah, thank you. Like at that point, I didn't know what it's like to have something and to ask for help. Like I learned so much since then, but like that was my first really exposure of like somebody helping me because of a disability.
Wow.
So,
and you didn't even know yet.
And I didn't even know. And I was just like, I didn't know to ask. I didn't even know that was like a thing. Like I just thought for some reason I have a hard time seeing in the dark. I didn't, because I never like had that diagnosis of like, you have Usher syndrome. I just knew that I had trouble, but I didn't know what it was. And like in the back of my head, I knew, like I remember hearing it's possible I could be blind one day, but 16, like that's not happening. Like what?
And to say, let's come back in a few years. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. I cannot imagine, like, how was that to hear that? Right. Were you able to put it in the back of your head?
I would just put it back in my head and I'm like, I'm a kid. Like, you don't think of, like, that's just not a real thing that's happening. And like he said, come back in a few years. So I put it out of my head and I was like, okay. I remember in seminary, somebody asked me about my eyes. I don't know why. If I just said, yeah, I bump into stuff sometimes. But I thought like I was just clumsy or whatever, or I just have a little extra hard time seeing. And she was like, you should really check it out. I'm like, oh yeah, it's been a couple of years. I should check that out. So yeah, and then it was during COVID when the hearing part really came up because I knew I was always had like a little bit of a hearing impairment, but like nothing really major. But during COVID, that's when people were wearing masks. So first of all, it covers up your face. You can't see the lip movements. I'm not a good lip reader, but like it definitely helps for me to be able to see what you're saying. First of all, there's like you can't see your face, and also it's muffled.
And so
like
muffled.
It's muffled. So like there's two things like that make it extra hard for somebody with an impairment. I was like, I can't do this. So I went to the audiologist, also a Mass Eye and Ear, and I just got tested. He's like, yeah, you have like sensorineural hearing loss, which is like the hearing part of Usher's, and here's your hearing aids. And like I was like, oh my gosh, they actually are amazing. Like, thank God I didn't have a hard time adjusting at all. Sometimes older people do. It takes a couple of weeks for them to get adjusted, but like put on that first day, I'm like, wow, everything is so crisp. I didn't even know that there were so many burns out. Like, I didn't know that the clock ticks. Like, you hear about it in books, but I didn't know that. All these things are like, it was amazing. So then after that, I'm like, oh, so there's the hearing aspect of it. And maybe I really should get my eyes checked out.
Today's episode is sponsored. L'zecher Nishmas, Yitzchak Ozer Ben Ephraim Fischel.
I called up my specialist and I remember his name. Now that I'm an adult, and like I have my insurance information, my health portal and everything, so then I was able to see things. And like I saw that there was notes there from the last visit in 2016. This was already like, I had seen him in like 2020 now. So 4 years later, I looked at these notes and it said like the genetic, I had taken like blood test for like genetic testing and said, yeah, you have a recessive condition and it's caused by such and such gene. See, it's like Clarin1, that's just the name of the gene. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a real thing. So then I looked it up and like I found all this like information about it. And so then with that information, I took it to my appointment and he's like, oh, okay, like, how are you doing? Like, and for the most part, things were pretty unchanged, but he was able to look at the charts. Like he did basically the same testing and he saw that the charts showed like there is definitely like a trend here, but it's still within like a normal range. And it's hard to really tell what a normal range is because everybody's different. Everybody's like the progression is different. It looks different from every person. Like I remember reading this book. It's called Not Fade Away by Rebecca Alexander. She's also Jewish. She's also like just doing things. She's a spin instructor. She likes to travel and mountain climb and all this crazy stuff. And she has Ushers. And like just her journey is amazing. She was able to drive into her 20s. Her hearing was pretty bad, but her vision was good. So like I have the opposite kind of. So everybody does it differently. So he said like, it looks fine, but like you are legally blind now. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's real. It's like really happening. It's like not a thing in like the near future. Like this is now, like it's actually, once like you hit like certain milestones, it's like, whoa, that like really threw me and really freaked me out. I was able to be like, okay, but now I have this, like, what is the next step? Nothing's different. It's like, everything's the same. Like I'm still seeing the same as I was yesterday. Like nothing changed except for that I have the numbers that are confirming that I'm legally blind. So trying to like be like, okay, thank you Hashem that it's very, very slow. I don't know what I would do if like you hear these crazy stories. Somebody became blind like in 1 second. Like, I don't know how. Like Hashem really just made it slow and steady. Like I don't notice it. And like I still do things. So that is a big part of it. It's like I can adapt as my vision progresses. Like I don't like all of a sudden be like, hey, what next? There are a couple of like milestones along the way, like finding out I'm legally blind or bumping into someone with my bike and realizing, okay, I shouldn't be biking anymore. Those are things when it really like hits and like, oh, wait, it's like, it's still happening. Like, cause it's in the back of my mind. I forget about it sometimes. Yeah. And so then because I'm legally blind, then it made me eligible for services from the Mass Commission for the Blind. And those are like, that's a committee that works to help people gain called VR, vocational rehabilitation. People who still want to live independently, they have some vision remaining or maybe even not, and they want to continue jobs or like find something that they can do even with vision loss. So people there are really nice. My counselor, actually, she's also blind. Like, they're just really nice group of people. And it is like, I think it's a government organization, but it's really the people that make it up are just quite wonderful. And like, it's gotten me free access to public transportation, like everywhere, because I can't drive. So it's like, oh, well, at least you can use the trains, you know? And also the ride, which is, that's like, that was another thing, like, oh my gosh, I start taking the ride. I don't know what is the general term for it is called, but in New York, it's like Accessoride, I think.
Accessoride.
Accessoride, yeah.
That's like the vans.
Yes, the van. The van. And like, sometimes.
So you felt that?
I felt that. Sometimes they pick you up in like a smaller one. When they pick me up in the van and like backs up and it makes a beeping noise and everybody sees it and it's like, oh, there's a blind person. We're like, oh. Actually, not even blind. Like, I imagine it's for older people because you always see the old people getting on it.
That's true. I do notice that it's for. I thought it was for elderly.
Yeah, so it's for people who have some sort of like condition that doesn't like that makes it harder for them to access regular public transportation.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, okay, walking at night, it's not super safe, and like it does mean sometimes like I can miss a bus or a train because I'm like looking for the stop and like I cannot see where the sign is. That has happened before, not very often, but like enough that I'm like, I don't really like this. So yeah, I have used it and it's very helpful if I know that, okay, on a Sunday when I'm not pressed for time and I want to go to like Costco in Dedham, like, which is so far away, I can take it. But like, you have to book it in advance and like, it doesn't come exactly on time. So like, never use it for appointments. But it has its own uses. And my only thing is like, people see me getting in and I'm like an old disabled person. But that's been part of the journey, is accepting what I need. This is what I have. Like, that's just what it is. And not making like, oh, it looks weird or whatever, but I'm doing what I need to do that helps for me. And like, people are so surprisingly like open to it. And like, oh, like they asked me about my cane or about this. And I'm like, if you make it normal, then it's normal. Like, it's really up to the person. Like, I remember one time I was walking to Shul and then with my cane and there's a bunch of kids, like, 10, 11 years old, asked me what it was. And like, at first I was like, oh, I like freeze, like they're going to think I'm weird and like, whatever, they're going to laugh. It's like a bunch of boys and whatever. I'm like, wait a second, let me just try something. So then I was like, oh, this is my cane. Like, and I unfolded it. And like, it helps me walk safely because I don't see it. Like, I explained, they're like, how come you can't see it? And I'm like, because that's how Usher made me. Like, that's really the only answer. And they accepted that. They're like, oh, that's cool. And like, I was just like, wow, they can be cool if if you talk about it, you make it cool.
And you're also helping raise a new generation of people who are so comfortable with it specifically because you work in a school. And yes. I know you're so open and you share and you show them. And that's what makes it so normalized. And that's what makes it so inclusive.
Yeah.
And I know my kids appreciate that so much.
I was going to say, you really teach your kids like so in such a wonderful way. Like, you always like, oh, careful, like don't leave your clothes on the steps because like Rosie can trip over whatever, and like you ingrain
anyone
so
can
much.
Trip.
I know. I have to remember. Like, I'm not the only one, but
no, but I remember, it's true. I try to remind my kids to be sensitive to the people around us. So if there's someone, the same way if there's a baby in the house and you put on a baby gate for the baby in the house,
yeah,
or you move the Lego out of the room,
yeah,
like, why is it different? It's not different.
Right.
As long as, of course, I think for some people they would ask like, but I don't want to pay, like, point it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to like stay on that point of like your kids, they gotten to the point where like Esther was like, Rosie, I'm gonna like hold your hand when we go up the steps because she's so like intuitively like doesn't even think about it. Like, she just knows. So they've grown up with that, and I'm like amazed that I can be a part of that. That like it's just so normal for them. So yes, that is something that I'm still working on. First of all, is like what people will think. What does it look like? But making it like cool, and also figuring out, like you were saying, people don't want to point it out.
Right.
And like, you don't want to be like all the time being like, oh, but be careful because XYZ. So for me, it's hard to really also show people, like, it's a learning curve for both of us, I think, because I'm just like, I know what I can see, what I can't see. So if somebody warns me about something that I can't see, like, I have to like stop myself from being like, I know I can see that, because they don't know that. Like, I have to be more clear about what I can and can't see. So I've started being like, at night, I really need to hold onto somebody's arm. Like that would be the most helpful. And I just can, basically, I'm like closing my eyes. Like I don't need to look at anything and you're doing all the guiding. So that is very helpful. And during the day, I'd say like, if you see something that's like kind of weird and not like out of the way, like I tripped over a mattress that was on Market Street because somebody left a mattress out there and it fell in the middle of the sidewalk. And like, I mean, they didn't mean to put a mattress on the sidewalk, but like it was there and I was not expecting that. For me, like things have to be like expected. Like I learned a lot of times, even if I don't see something, like I know, oh, here is where this table juts out. Like I have to steer around it. Like I bumped into it enough times that I remember. So that's what helps is also if things are in a consistent spot, then I remember to move out of the way. Also just talking with people that, like you, for instance, like me and like we've worked it out together, like you kind of intuitively know what I can and can't see. So it really depends on how long I've known the person and how long we've like walked together. And then people that I don't know so well, like I've gotten more comfortable with asking, hey, I can't see so well in the dark, like even a stranger, can I cross now or whatever? Or like the one that I usually go to is I'm in the store and like see a dress or something and like, weird question, what color is this? I'm just so over it. Like I'll go up to anybody and be like, what color is it? Because like otherwise I'll look like a clown. Like I don't even know. So like I can still see things in color, like it's colorful for me still, but like a lot of colors look pretty similar, like especially like muted colors or very like light, like pastels. Like those are very hard for me to kind of tell the difference.
I want to like also backtrack for a minute because you said that even in high school, right, you noticed like the dark at the, when it was dark, you had a hard time seeing. So Friday night, you go out very often for meals.
Yeah.
Tell me how that works.
Yeah. So actually, I remember when I first came, I got the cane that year that I came. The year that you moved into our house. Yeah. But for the first couple of months, I was mostly home actually for Friday night because it was still hard for me to, like, I didn't think about it because I just had never had a cane before. So I always just like, this is what I'm used to, just having a hard time at night, unless like I was walking with somebody. Then I got my cane. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can go places. And like, it was just so freeing. While I still like, that was the very beginning of like using a cane and feeling like a blind person, but it was also like, wow, I can just go places and like, it helps me feel around. And also it like lets other people know. And it's just so great. So that was what really gave me that courage and freedom to just go. And then when I do forget my cane, I feel so like slow and lost. Like I'm just like feeling around, like I'm just scared to actually go out. If it's a place I'm not super familiar with, even a place that I am, I just like to walk fast. And I can't do that if I don't have my cane.
Are there areas that are like, you can tell the difference if it's well lit at night?
Yes.
It's so interesting to me. Growing up, like all the Heimische cereal boxes would have like, I don't know, these notes like from like Hatzalah.
Yeah.
And Hatzalah, and it always said, make sure you have a well-lit address front of your house. You don't want people tripping. You want Hatzalah to see the address if God forbid they ever have to come.
Right.
And so that was normal. Everyone had a well-lit front of their house. And then I moved to Boston and I'm like, it's dark.
Yeah.
Nobody's turning on lights. I mean, we have an automatic, I think.
Right. I wanted to say about that actually. Thank you so much. And I like never realized until like I just took it for granted. But for a time, like I was like, oh, your lights are always on. I don't know. They just aren't. Then I asked her, I'm like, you're one of the only houses that the light is lit up. I can walk up the porch, like no problem. I can see the number on the door. Wow. And like, I didn't realize like that was a standard in New York.
It's, like you said, it's unsafe. People like for people with disabilities for sure. But especially here when the winters are so cold and icy.
Yeah.
How does that work for you also with like the cane going out? Does that impact things for you?
That's a good question. I would say actually in the wintertime when there's snow on the ground, I find it easier to see because it's white and like the sky it's very dark, but like I can see that contrast so much better when there's either like, if especially the sidewalk is paved or like it's shoveled, then like you see the white on the yard and then it's black sidewalk. It's like so high contrast and I can see so well. It's awesome actually. If I was like trying to get into somebody else's back door, like it's a nightmare. Like I remember over Sukkot, I was at somebody's house and I ended up walking into their sukkah instead of like out the front yard and like it's so funny. The husband had to like redirect me.
So this is like a really like such a milestone time in your life. First you're a teenager, then you're like a 20, 21-year-old going out in your life. you have to suddenly express yourself in the world with a little shift in your identity. There was a lot of balancing. Did you find that like all those transitions coming together made that easier for you, or was that extra challenging?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I think they both kind of like feed off each other. I think like at the same time that I was like, oh, I am like suddenly like blind, or not suddenly, thank God, but like losing my vision. I can't drive and I can't bike at night, or I can't, so many I can't. At the same time, I don't know if it was like a conscious thing or it just like happened. But I was like, but what about this? And what about that? Like, why don't I just try it? And around then was when I like got into running, and that was like a whole thing on its own. My dream is to run the Boston Marathon. I was born here, I grew up here.
For Rosie Harper-Rosenthal, this dream used to feel out of reach.
I was 16, I was diagnosed with Ushers Syndrome, which is degenerative hearing and vision loss.
She is now legally blind, but her goal of running Boston is closer than ever.
You see the cone?
She's there with me. Sometimes we hold a tether, sometimes she just giving me verbal cues.
We're gonna start turning.
Rosie and her running guide, Barrett Terrace, just completed the New York Marathon as part of Team High Lifeline, an organization supporting kids and their families battling critical illnesses.
Final mile, how are we feeling?
For Barrett, a former collegiate runner, this was her first experience guide running and won't be her last.
I think I cried maybe 9 or 10 times that day. Passing people on the course with tethers and stuff, like it felt really cool to be part of a really big organization. It's been my favorite chapter of running so far.
The pair missed the qualifying time for Boston by only 8 minutes. But if there is anything running has taught Rosie, she says it's to never give up.
You really think that you don't have anything left in the tank, but you just be very surprised at what you have. And that you can, think about that with whatever you're going through, any challenges. And training, especially in the winter, because it gets dark earlier, that was something that I have to figure out. And the Mass Commission for the Blind sent me this information for an organization called Running Blind. So these major marathons, you'll see Achilles International is like a big charity team for people with like prosthetics and wheelchairs and all that. So I specifically got connected through Running Blind, which is volunteer-based running guide. So I got matched with 2 very wonderful girls, and they're just these really cool, wonderful people. So there's a whole story about it, actually. Like the High Lifeline did a news story on it, so like you can learn more about that. But it's basically kind of goes through. I held on to an end of it. It's called a tether, and so I hold on to one end, and there's like a rope, and the guide holds on to the other end, and so we're running together. And so if, let's say, there's something in my path, or like there's a car coming, then like she can start steering me away, so I will feel that tension on the rope, and then I move in that direction. So that has been
for practice
helpful.
I'm so sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
that was for practice, like even when you're just like running day-to-day running, building up.
Usually during the day I don't run with the tether. I just find that like they're both so much taller than I am, so it kind of like messes with their form a little bit. So during the day, I still feel safer running with them because I don't have to look out where I'm going. But at night specifically, that's when I use it. That's during training. Right. So during training, that's when I'm running at night a lot of times, and that's when I use it. During the marathon itself, I didn't use it, again, because of the form. But one of the guys did it with me, and this was her first marathon also, actually. And like we did it together. It was so great. She kind of like stayed right next to me or behind me. You can actually see some of the pictures. Like she's got her hand on my back because like people were really trying to push between us. And like we clearly were a team. Like we both had the same team shirts. And so it was just like kind of like annoying. Like we just pushed through, and like I kind of got separated a couple times, which was a little scary because I just had to keep running. But like, it was like a little bit overwhelming sometimes. But she was always there.
It was just incredible to be able to cheer you on.
We went through Williamsburg, which was so funny. Like I've never been to Williamsburg before, and like this is my first experience. And like we were running, and like me and like these like from the Hasidic people trying to like run across on a regular Sunday morning.
So even though you've discovered that you have certain limitations, it sounds like nothing gets in your way. Nothing gets in your way of like you love being active, you love using your energy and building your strength. I will also add the friendships, like maintaining so many friendships. We didn't even cover that, but I'm just saying, like, this is all, these things are things that are important to you and people that are important to you.
Yeah.
And you've decided to really like
find the resources to help yourself.
But so a lot of times people that just think of me and they send me these things, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. And then I found this horseback riding program.
Right, the horseback riding. How can we forget the horseback riding?
So I love animals, and but that's also another huge part which I forgot was animals. I always wanted to learn to ride, and I'm just kind of scared of going to regular riding facilities because there's so many horses, there's so much going on. Like I'm scared, like, if I don't see something and then I run my horse over it, or I don't know. But this place in Lexington, and it's for people with physical and mental disabilities that, like, they need that extra support. It's like also like therapeutic riding. So I was like, I like this place because they're trained to help people that have those, challenges in mind. And so they're very open-minded and how can we work with you on these specific issues that you have? And I just got this really patient horses that just were so chill. And they gave me my own rink. It was a huge place. And so they were really, really great people. A lot of it is yes, I can't do these things, but what about other things? And sometimes, for better or for worse, I do forget that I have a disability, and I just forget what I can or can't do. And then somebody's like, yeah, but what about if I want to go to Israel, and it's dark and you're doing farm work earlier in the morning, whatever. I don't know exact relation. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Your trip will be on, and your volunteer work will be able to happen.
Amazing.
But you'll be with other people.
Right.
And like you said, you got so good at advocating for yourself.
I can't say I'm perfect at it. And especially you have such good insight about people want to help. They want to know how they can be helpful. And when you ask them, can you X, Y, Z, they feel wow, I can be so useful now. Now I know what I can do. And it's interesting because one time I was trying to cross the street and I had my cane. So it was clearly I was a blind person. And some guy said, hey, can I help you cross the street? And at first I was like, no, thank you. I do that. I can do it. It's fine. I'm like, wait a second. He's asking for help. So he probably wants to be helpful. And it's not anything on me. So I was like, sure. Yeah, actually that'd be so great because it makes him feel better. And it got me so much better at accepting help, which is a big part of it, and asking for help. So I was like, people want to be helpful. You're so right about that. And it makes both of us feel great. So why not?
Yeah. So when they can see the disability, like you said, see the walking cane, they're not sure if they want to help, but they don't want to make you uncomfortable. Right. So when you respond, either by letting them know, oh, I need some help or whatever, it's taking them out of their questioning.
Right. And there is that balance of it's not up to me to make other people feel comfortable.
But obviously the looming question is, what about shidduchim?
Yeah.
What about shidduchim? How did that happen for you?
Yeah. So that was a big thing. How do I go about that? I know that people, there's so much, especially in the traditional world, it's you have the whole bio on the resume. You say all the things about yourself. And for me, the big question was, do I write my disability? Do I put that up there? Because
do you write your disability on there?
Yeah. First of all, it's a big part of who I am. Not even just what I can do or not, but that's also helped shape my personality and trying to figure that out. So that was the big question. And it still is because that's a big part of me. The big thing is that's something that they're going to have to deal with. It's not just an issue that, okay, I have it. That's going to be not the basis of the marriage, but that's a really big part of how we do our lifestyle. He's going to be driving. I'm not. We have to live in a place where there's public transportation because I don't want to be relying on him to drive me anywhere. I'm also going to want to take my kids to doctor's appointments and birthday parties and stuff. I also want to be able to do that. So that's going to affect where we're going to live and what kind of person he is that he's going to be willing to accept that. I don't want, they see the disability and it's oh my gosh, no way. So I feel I have gotten some no's where I started talking about myself or whatever. And then I say, by the way, and maybe he was okay, let's check out references. And then I mentioned the Ushers Syndrome and they're oh yeah, that's a no. So that I've gone and it's you don't even know me. You don't know what I can do, And so I kind of was okay, well, what if I just don't put that up there and then they can see me as I am? Depending on if it's at night, then there's no way. If it's in a crowded area, I won't hear anything he says and that would also no way. So I could meet him 1 or 2 times and like, okay, then he'll probably find something out. Like, but I also would feel like a fraud because you need to ask her about that. What I've done is put it out there. I forget the exact like language that I wrote. Something like, well, Rosie has a hearing and vision impairment, basically putting it there, but even though she has this, she's very resourceful and independent, and like she can still function and do all the normal stuff.
Yeah.
So that they know that it's there, but know that that's not the only thing about me, and I can still do other stuff. And if you want to know more about it, like, okay, I can definitely tell you more about it. There's references for a reason, and they can share that information. So I think that's a good middle path because it's being truthful and also upbeat about it and not just like, okay, that's the only thing there.
Yeah.
I work with this wonderful, wonderful chaplain. Shout out Vanessa, if you're out there, oh my gosh, like there's no words. I don't know if she wants to be spoken of, but you know what? She deserves it.
She's a great advocate.
Yeah. So I got in touch with her because she does shidduchim for people with disabilities. And I've heard of people who don't like it, like, oh, this person is in a wheelchair, this person has a bad back, like, okay, it's a shidduch. And like, not always is it. Like, so people don't like that they're just lumped together because they have a disability. However, I have found it helpful because it means like, you're used to having like something that you need to think about and make accommodations for. And like that sensitivity is very helpful when you're starting a relationship. Be like, okay, I know what it's like to need extra accommodation for something. It makes me more open-minded for what it is that they need. And that's something that's very important. There was this singles event like about a month or so ago. It was wonderful. You told me about it. And then like so many people just be like, hey, I heard about this. And so it was organized by Imo Nochi, and it's basically an organization for people that for whatever reason are going to have difficulties during shidduchim. And Mrs. Manessa helped like organize it and kind of network with all the different people. And so it was only physical disabilities. So I have like my opinions about that, but it also helped me kind of like rest easy. And I just focus on what disabilities, like if they're compatible or not. It was very like, what can we do to make you comfortable? To make sure that the lighting was not too dim, the music was not too loud. And that was just for me. Like, then there were people that were in wheelchairs, walkers, and they had to make sure the tables were spaced far enough apart. And just everything, they really thought it out. And it was so amazing. So then I got to be part of a wider network of different disabilities. There was such a range. Now I can appreciate what I have. And also he's totally normal. And and I can appreciate that he's normal because I'm also, and like, we just want to be seen for like who we are. And yes, we have some sort of challenges, but you can work around that. It's like, okay, now I only have the people that are willing to date somebody with some sort of disability, whatever that looks like. So it's there. If they want to know more, they can, but they also know that there's more to me than that. I think that it's been very freeing because it does make the suggestions come fewer and further between, but they're also more relevant, which makes it a lot simpler. So
you would say that with your challenge, you see how it brings the relevance and it brings the direction.
Yes. And that also means I don't have to be afraid to bring it up because I'm like, he already knows what it is. Like, okay, I just talk about what that's like.
Yeah.
And yeah. So that makes it simpler in some ways, a little bit more frustrating in other ways because then it's like so many no's and like I have to wait a while until like I meet somebody that's willing to go with that. That's just the way it is, I guess. Like Hashem made it, and like for better or for worse, like that's just how it's gonna be. So I hope that will translate to Hashem to one day finding somebody that will I'll feel comfortable sharing and I'll also be able to talk about what I need and what works. Like, for instance, setting up my house, I want everything to be high contrast. Like, might need tape on the stairs. I might need like white kitchens and like black pans, like whatever that looks like. There are a couple like, different personalities that like, influencers out there with different disabilities. You can find them all over the place, but specifically like looking at people with disability, with like vision impairments, like that's been very helpful to see how they live their life.
And technology also, I know that you're very tech savvy.
Yeah. I wouldn't say savvy like that I know how things work. I do love tech. I love new gadgets and like,
you have all the best gadgets.
All the best gadgets.
But that's also been useful for you. How do you find the gadgets that are really the most beneficial to you? Yeah.
One of the things that I've gotten the most questions about was my Ray-Ban glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And they have like it's like a whole AI, you know, meta AI glasses. And I just got them for like the technology because it's just really cool. But people are asking me, does that help you see better? Like, does that technology like support your vision loss? And I'm like, actually, not really. They are just regular glasses, but the camera capabilities, you can actually like ask, hey Meta, what am I looking at? And they'll describe to you, which right now I can Baruch Hashem see what I'm looking at. Yeah. But later, like, you know, later down the line, like, oh, what color is this? That actually I haven't tried out for some reason. And I should explore more into that. There are apps that you can point to and it will tell you what color it is. I just find it challenging because of the lighting. If the lighting is different, it will make it look like a different color, which, I mean, it's cool, but I really just need a human eye for that.
So there's actually an app. I think I sent it to you tonight. I check. I find resources.
I know. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, people just send me stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
do you appreciate it? Or
I appreciate it. No. It's the best because it's like, I wouldn't have known about this. People are thinking of me and like, you're doing it in the most like wonderful way, like not patronizing at all. Just like, hey, I saw this. I thought of you. Like, what do you think? And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I didn't know about that.
Sending Instagram reels, number one, is a love language. So I sent it as an Instagram reel. Yeah. But also it's just like an app where that you can video call. Like there are volunteers who like, people just download it.
Okay.
And then you're open to anytime someone with any vision impairment needs help with something visually, they can call and a volunteer answers and can video call. And the video I sent you, you'll see it's so cool. It's somebody just called. They needed help picking the almond milk they needed. And they were holding like the camera in front of like the fridge. And I'm like, that is genius.
Yeah.
That's because people can just answer a video call.
Right.
You know, that like, oh, left, right.
Yeah. It could connect like, do they pair with a specific volunteer? Like, because I wouldn't want to be always calling some like the same person.
I think it's just like people with I wonder if it's kind of like a hotline, like, oh, whoever's available will come.
That's so cool because it's so funny. When I was living at home and my brothers were home, and one brother in particular, I'd be like, drop something. I don't really feel like looking around for it. I don't trust my eyes, so like I kind of like feel around. I was like, hey, JJ, can you come here for a second? Can you find it? And I'll find it. And he's so good about it. That would actually be very helpful because I don't feel like I'm encroaching on anybody. They're volunteers and like, they're there for that. That's actually very helpful because like sometimes if I like drop something, like my glasses are clear, and so I wouldn't find it. I'm usually feeling around for things. So
so like you said, high contrast. That's like a really smart way to set up a house.
Yeah.
Like so many people are thinking like either they're not thinking about that at all, or they're thinking in terms of style.
Yeah.
But there's also a functionality.
Right.
That's actually really helpful.
Right. Like I like big open spaces. It's funny because I did camp for this week. So I had to set up the classroom for the way that I wanted it. And I was like, oh, this is fun. Like I got to set up the classroom and like just so much. And people actually liked that. I was like, oh, like, so I think in terms of functionality, it would be like the colors. The walls would be light colors because that just makes the light work better in the room. Like I noticed like actually the dining room was the hardest part because the chairs are dark and the table is dark and the floor is dark.
Right.
So it's all dark.
Yeah.
And I think like, how would I do it? Like I never expect anybody to like change things up. Like, no, like that's just how it is. And also these new chairs that you got are
the new chairs are like
the new chairs. Yeah.
So the ones that we've been climbing over to get into them. There's Hashem's Shabbos Kodesh. We'll have them.
Hopefully nothing too pointy because otherwise I'd be like bumping into it and it'll be hurting. But I think eventually I would just get used to it. And I know, okay, this is where the edge of the table is. So
in your own space, like you become familiar. I'm sure.
Right. And so I am looking forward to being able to set things up. There is actually this Instagram, I forget what they're called. My sister always sends me stuff from them. It's like Mike and Paul or something. I don't know. It's like this gay couple. And one of the guys there is blind.
I see them,
Yeah. What is their name?
I don't remember their names, but they have such entertaining.
Yes, it was so funny. He posted something about like this when he ran like I don't know if it was like a full marathon or like a race or something, and his guide was also like very much of a height difference. Yeah, and they were at the back of the pack, and where all the banana peels were, and he's like, "You think that the tripping over the banana peels is something in the movies?" But it's a real thing, and like needless to say, we came in last. He just had such a good attitude about it.
Good attitude. They're very sweet.
Yeah.
And it's very informative, but it also shows you the like real life side of living as someone with retinal pigmentosa. That's
that's what he has. Yeah, you got it.
But also as a partner to show what it's like to live as a partner to someone who has that, and they have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
So it's
so funny and it's so informative. It's like a really good balance there. Yeah. They're doing great work.
Thinking about the Boston thing, because it really is incredible that you're here in a frum community and the resources are Chaste Hashem, they're there. Like there are professionals in our community who are familiar with it. I've been doing people's haircuts and find out that they do lab work. I don't know, things like this happen. I don't know exactly. I know that when Malky lives here,
and she's
like, oh, I'm going to work in a lab and we're studying ushers.
Yes. And I was like, yay, thank you so much. Like, I don't know, like, because right now this stuff is still in the works. Like, how do you do research for something that like you don't know when you're going to find the cure for that? But I think it also lends some sort of emotional like connection to it because she knows somebody now that has that and like can benefit from that. So
I don't know if that lab, I don't know if that ended up, it was privately funded.
Okay.
So I don't know what ended up happening, but I also have a recollection that there's someone else that came from Israel. I don't know, and I'm doing people's hair. Yeah. That's when I learned so much.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's something called Kornit, I think, which is an Israeli also like startup lab. Somebody was telling me about. Like you should contact them. There's for sure something that they can do about RP. And I'm like, I don't think so because of different I think, but it's nice to know that they're out there. Like, and Israel is also such a great developing country for that.
How was it visiting Israel?
I was there last year and the year before. It happens to be Israel is very much a leader in accessibility, actually.
Really?
I've heard that. And like, you know, seeing that on the trains and the buses, like they make sure audible announcements and the sign, you know, even in the bus stops, they're very much into announcing it, which you don't really see that in subway or bus.
I'm just thinking of the old city and Har Nof and the steps and the random pathways.
Yeah. So I only went to like the old city like once or twice for the coastal. So the steps were really scary because it was always the same shade.
The same color,
Same color, same shade. And the slippery, and there's a lot of people there. I can't remember if I used my cane. I think one of the times I did because it was at night. Other times, like I was with a friend, so I was like, I mean, I was always with somebody, but other times I was just like hold on to their arm and like they would guide me. So that was specifically in Yerushalayim. I remember in Geula, I must have used my cane then too because it was like so much traffic and like there's people and there's like fire hydrants in the middle and it's just like, oh, it's not gonna work. So I think I used my cane and like, yes, I probably bumped into people, but like this is Israel, everybody knows. So it was just like normal. And then like I just remember going to the farms, like it was, you know, pretty spread out and I was able to see better.
Did you do volunteer work that visit also? Was that volunteer?
Yeah, so last year I kind of just went on my own. I stayed by a friend. So like I had a place to stay and I had like one connection, like, oh, I know of this like pantry packing place. And so I went there and there was also some times where like I couldn't find the bus stop, like I just didn't see it. So I asked people and they were like very, very accommodating. Every day just did something on my own. And if it was at night, I was like scared because first of all, it's at night and like I don't really know, I'm not familiar with the area, so I couldn't see anything. So sometimes I would use Get for that.
Which is their Uber, basically.
Yeah. That was helpful. And like, you know, the public transportation also there is amazing. Like it covers like the whole Israel, I think. Probably. People don't have cars and that's pretty normal. So that was very helpful for somebody who doesn't drive.
I know we really need to go to sleep because it's the middle of the night and way past your bedtime.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being open to like doing it now, doing this interview.
Yeah.
I just want to hear from you. What would you have needed to hear? Is there a message that you would have needed to hear that you'd want to impart to other people who are struggling with this?
For me, the thing that most stands out is community aspect of it. Is people know you. Even if they don't know you, they're just so willing to help. Like people really just want to be kind and they want to do for other people. And so it's okay to ask for help and it's a good thing. Like it shows that you are comfortable with yourself. And yes, it's hard at first, but just you'll get used to it. Like just try practicing, like try stepping outside and be like, can I or can you? And you'll be amazed to see how willing people are and like they'll jump to be like, yes, please, thank you so much for giving me that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think about like the emuna bitachon aspect of it. Part of it is like, I'm still kind of having questions about that because I know like according to the science, my vision's like I'm going to be blind by the time I'm 30, 40, I'll be totally blind. do I prepare for that? Do I get a guide dog? Besides for the fact that I want one, because like, hey, being able to take a dog wherever you go, that's just awesome. But like, is that like not having a emuna bite? Okay, now I'm accepting that I will be blind. Do I prepare for that? I think the general idea is like, I'm still having a emuna, and like, I'm still like, okay, getting the message out there for, you know, there's like all this initiative to rally on Capitol Hill during specific times when there's a lot of like funding requests that are going through the NIH, National Institute of Health, to kind of like, they want to hear stories of people with Usher syndrome or wherever, like this foundation that I am associated with, it, the Usher Syndrome Coalition. And then there's also Usher Trust and like all these different like Usher syndrome committees and initiatives. So I'm doing my Hishtadlis by speaking to the congressional leaders, whatever. I haven't gone to Washington in person because of my work schedule, but like I've Zoomed with people in like important offices, and that's been very cool. So doing my Hishtadlis to get that funding going towards research. You like what you were saying about Malkis, that was like a private thing and weren't sure if they can get off the ground. And so that's where people like me come in, and like they hear real stories from people. So I am doing Hishtadlis and like hoping, you know, one day they will have that. But I also can't just sit around and wait for that to happen. Like, you know, I need to take care of how I am now. And in the future, hopefully, like, I still don't fully accept that I will be blind and deaf, because I think Hashem can do anything, and like, who knows? And even if like they don't have a cure, like maybe my vision will one day. It's not realistic, but I don't know. Like, I still, Hashem like is Hakol Yachol, like he can do anything. So I think from that piece, it's like, yes, I'm accepting what's happening now, and I'm working with it. I'm not like lying to myself. Like, yes, I have dialed back on the biking, and I am using my cane, and I am, you know, using whatever services I can, but also like still planning for the future of like, okay, what would that look like in 10, 15 years? Okay, well, I need to make sure that I live in a place where I can take my kids places on the train. That's fine. That's being realistic, but also not being totally pessimistic. Like, I'm never going to be able to see again.
No one would ever describe you as pessimistic. I will say that. I think that what you're describing is such a beautiful balance. It's like living in reality.
Yes.
But you also have a bitachon reality.
Yes. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that would look like for, in general, people who are going through something. Like, that's not necessarily a disability, but like in a challenging situation that you're in now. Understand that, like, yes, this is what you're going through, but it doesn't mean it's going to be forever. And you will adapt, and you will find ways to keep going. And like, Hashem can just, in a blink of an eye, like, you never know. So keep hope in there. People are there for you. You just need to ask. And yeah, I find like, I love being in this out-of-town community where people are so willing. And I'm very thankful for being part of the Boston community.
And I'm thankful you're part of it. I'm thankful. Let's end with a hug. I'm going to switch over.
Oh my God, I can't